I'm Meredith Graves of MTV News, and I'm backstage at Governor's Ball 2017 with Bleachers, Jack Antonoff. Hi.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's nice to be here.
Don't get it twisted. This extremely calm guy standing next to me, your album literally comes out today. It's out now. Gone now, out today. How do you must be like exploding inside.
I feel weird. You think about a day for so long, and in this case it was 2 years, and then you get there and you're sort of like slightly speechless about it because, I don't know, I feel like I put it all on the album, kind of. I don't know, it's similar to the feeling of like having an emotional breakdown in front of friends, and then you stop freaking out, and then you're like, you know, I just feel like sort of quiet and humbled. It's hard to explain. I'll have a lot of thoughts tomorrow. Come see me then.
You said the word quiet, you said the word speechless, and I get that completely, but what you're not is voiceless. And the thing that I've really enjoyed is reading your like live journal length Instagram posts about your like very real feelings about making this record. You write these book length tomes to your fans that are so intimate.
I can't tell if they're annoying or not. I just feel the need to like, that's my problem with a lot of like press these days is I don't think that anyone has to like or dislike or favorite stuff. I don't really get hung up on that. I get hung up on when people take things out of context. So I think that like, because it's all press, right? Like if you put something on Instagram, it's just like press, right? It's kind of like all the same thing. It's like Twitter's like this own mini press conference. So I just want to be like very like almost like literal. Here's why I made it. Here's how I made it. Here's what happened. Whatever the fuck after that. But like at least there's somewhere to come back to. Not to like get all fake news on it. But it just, you know, it's everywhere. And I get stressed out about clickbait. I get stressed out about being an artist in the sense that I feel like when I was a kid, we gave people more space. So you made an open Rolling Stone or some zine or some shit, there'd be a whole big profile on someone, and maybe this little part was really fucked up, but there was a big picture. And I think that a lot of artists get squeezed to get very political. Not like political, but like become a politician. You can't say too much because they could grab one thing. So I like to really like use the spaces I have. But I'll get fucked there too.
It's kind of weird because like, at least when you're doing an interview, sometimes you have the buffer of having a press person, but really what it's like when you just say something out of your own voice and put it on social media, it's almost like going into court and saying, I'm going to be my own lawyer. Like, yeah. You're taking that barrier out of the picture.
Totally, and it's amazing. I don't know, but I mean, this is going pretty deep, but just like, this kind of takes me into the idea of like, who our real enemies are, and I think that, you know, sometimes I feel like a lot of us who are on the same side really want to rip each other apart because we're so devastated about all the people we don't understand. So that, to me, feels like the culture of social media. But, I mean, that's all political shit I might talk about. But with music, I feel like it's just a space where I could be like, this song came out, it just got blasted. It just got, like, ejaculated all over the world so quickly, right? Like, so literally everywhere, all the streaming services, I could take 1 second to be like, here's where it was recorded, here's why it was recorded, just like a place, liner notes. Modern liner notes.
But more so than liner notes, because especially now today, with the prevalence of social media, I feel like everyone is so interested in receiving adequate credit for things. And really, there aren't a lot of artists who are sharing their honest, intimate feelings about the work that they've made. And you've broken the fourth wall completely, and you're giving your fans an immediate look into your emotional and mental process while you're making this music that they love so much.
It took me a long time to forgive myself for just what I sound like. So I remember like growing up in the 2000s, it was like, the Strokes were happening and I wasn't that, and that was weird, and like kind of like emo shit was happening and I wasn't that. So I feel like finally at 33 I'm just like, this is what it sounds like, and I'm gonna talk about it, and you're gonna show up or you're not, but if you do, it's for us.
And what it sounds like is the soundtrack to a John Hughes movie that never happened, or like you really, really love Genesis.
I do. Well, I think about a lot of that DNA, so think about your influences, like, yeah, my parents gave me the Beatles and I was obsessed with 90s music, but when I was like breastfeeding, when I was a kid, like Depeche Mode was on the radio. Those sounds are really like in me in a way. I think that's why they feel like home. But a lot of that, like, it's all New Jersey perspective. Outside, looking at the world from your window. All the kids I knew from the city had like just did it all, seen it all. All the like sex and bands were happening in New York, and I was in New Jersey. You're from upstate. You get it.
Absolutely.
So that's the perspective I come from, of just like, I don't want to be like so like douchey as calling myself an outsider, but just that's the sound of New Jersey. Everything's about like, we got to get the fuck out of here. You get the fuck out, and you spend your whole life missing it.
Yeah, and when we were talking before, you told me that you were influenced by Lifetime. I mean, all of this Jimmy Eat World, all this Lifetime, the underlying message of it all is like, we're gonna get out of this town.
Yeah.
You and me, we're gonna run.
It's not city music. city music, and I love city music. You think about the Velvet Underground, or like city music is very cool, and it's from the perspective of having anything you want to do and then still not giving a fuck. It's wonderful. I love listening to it, but it's not me. That's why a lot of like suburban punk bands really spoke to me, because it was just like really about making your own noise. No one gave a shit. I feel like I've always felt like no one gives a shit is the best feeling to have to write music to.
And I think I would never say suburban, because I would feel like if I accidentally said suburban, I might hurt someone's feelings. But it's a wonderful word to describe songs like "Don't Take the Money," because if you come from the city, if you come from the city ideology in a way, it's like the money, the money, the money, the money's required. And you know, "Don't Take the Money" is such a powerful message, and it is really a fundamentally suburban message.
Deeply, and I like that it works on different levels, because you could take it. I mean, I'm talking about a relationship, but you could take it however. That's the whole perspective. If you're from the suburbs, you're forced to dream. You drive to your friend's house, you hang out in a basement, you dream. You're sitting in your bedroom writing songs, you're dreaming. You live in New York City, you're not dreaming. You're there. I've done both, so I really, I've traveled so much. Like, you meet these kids, and myself was one of them, who just kind of come from what feels like nowhere. You're just forced to dream, and I want the records to sound like a big dream. That's suburban to me.
And that dreamlike quality doesn't just translate on your records. It also translates a lot on the records that you write for and that you produce for. And you've written for Sia, you've written for Charlie XCX, you've written for Carly Rae Jepsen, you've written for Grimes. At what point in your life did you realize that women were superior?
Well, I grew up with sisters. I don't know, I've been trying to articulate this for a while because it comes up a lot. And I think it makes sense that it would come up a lot, because a lot of the things I do are attached to women, and I hear things in my head in a female voice a lot. That's why I redid the last Bleachers album by women. I don't know, it's just nice. The music industry's fucked up. I think that there's a lot of like energy that come from men to like crush and make smashes, and in all genres. And I think that in my experience, it's been easier to write these sort of suburban songs that we're talking about with women. It's hard to talk about without making some kind of generalization.
Or a bunch of bang crash onomatopoeia noises.
Yeah, right?
And I think that especially, we're all waiting for Lord's album, we're all waiting for Melodrama, and I know you had a massive hand in co-writing and co-producing, and you two go way back. You've really made room for her to have those bangs and crashes and kapow, especially on Greenlight. There's all these like diagenetic key changes and all this crazy stuff in that song. You've really made room for her to make feminized booms and crashes, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that my whole theory on all of that is that it's so basic to assume that you're talking about something, the song should sound like that something. All my favorite songs are, they pull you in different directions. It's the dance cry theory that we always talk about. Those are that's a lot, that's Springsteen, that's a lot of punk music I grew up with. It's like one person's weeping to it in bed, one person's, think about Dancing in the Dark. It's like people dance to it at a wedding. Dudes fucking screaming, want to change my clothes, my hair, my face. Like, that's crazy, right? I mean, think about like, you a Mountain Goats fan?
Yes, huge.
Like this year, that song is I think is a perfect pop song. Screaming about alcoholism and stepfather beating his mother and dance music in this year, and then the chorus is just, I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. Everyone agrees with that, whether you like are slightly bummed or just saw your whole family get shot. Like, it's for everyone, and I think that's my favorite thing in music, pop music, any music. We talk about that a lot when I'm making my records, other people's records. It can be both.
What would it take to, I can't believe I'm going to say this on camera, but what would I have to do to get Bleachers to do a cover of Dance Music by the Mountain Goats?
Not much. Like, set it up. I would love to. I mean, I'd feel a little weird. I would want to do it. I mean, that's Springsteen shit. Springsteen says gospel in the chorus, blues in the verse. So if you think about all your favorite songs, the ones that really got you, it's always like blues in the verse, gospel in the chorus. That's so Mountain Goats. Like, I'm on Johnson Avenue, San Luis Obispo. I'm 5 years old, 6 maybe. Launches a glass straight at her head.
Indications that there's something wrong with our new house. Creep down the wire twice daily.
I'm in the living room watching the Watergates hearing. My stepfather yells at my mother. Launches a glass straight across the room.
Straight at her
head. I dash upstairs to
take cover. Leaning close to the little record player on the floor.
This is what the volume knob's for.
I listen to dance music.
So who the fuck has the balls to like talk about his stepfather beating his mother, and that's why he turns up his radio? It's awesome.
To drown it out.
Yeah, it's so good. Everyone feels that way, whether it's that serious or not.
Well, thank you for making so many incredible songs to drown out the nauseating craziness of the world.
Thanks for talking to me.
Everybody go listen to Gone Now, right now. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks.